Hi, welcome to Miss Annette's Little Farm in the Big City. Well, it's really warmed up around here, and the garden's ready. I just put the last of the little bit of garden that I needed to put in those little tomatoes. I traded my neighbor, Justine, some eggs for some tomato plants, and that's how we do things around here in the neighborhood. You know, there's always a lot of activity here on the little farm. Some of our busiest days are the days that we spend getting ready for guests, or when we're packing up to go visit a school for an on-site visit. So today I thought I would share with you a little insight on what happens during those visits. Of course, Brownie is completely tuckered out, so he's going to be resting this whole time while I talk to you about our visits. I know a lot of people like electronic calendars and things like that, but I'm more of a visual person, and I need to see it in the whole scale of things, you know, how it's all interacting with each other. So I use a paper calendar to schedule our visits, and I use that to schedule our on-site visits at schools and our visits here on the little farm. I use that. Now, how do people contact me? Well, they usually email me. Sometimes people in the neighborhood will send me a text, because a lot of people in the neighborhood have my phone number. I only schedule 3 visits a week for here on the little farm, because after all, this is our home, and if I had visitors every day of the week, it would stop feeling more homey and start feeling more businessy. And foremost, above everything else, this is our home, this is our sanctuary, and I want to remain that feeling here. So I don't schedule more than 3 visits a week here on the little farm. Let's talk about how we prepare for guests when they visit here on the little farm, and what I do to prepare for guests here. Well, first of all, when somebody sends me an email and wants to come visit, I usually ask, you know, for their name and how many children are coming and how many adults are coming and all of that. And I prepare a little gift bag for them to take home with them. And the gift bag can contain anything. It can contain, you know, I had little felt goats that I was making this winter. I would put that in during the winter time. I have these little tiny jars that I ordered that I put honey in to give to them, and then I have these little 6-pack cartons for cartons of eggs. And during the summertime, you know, I could put flowers in there, I could put herbs in there, I could put some vegetables. Whatever I feel like putting in the bag, I will put it in the bag. And then I put my business card in there. I put my business card in there so that they can either contact me, or they can subscribe to this channel, or they can follow me on Facebook, because all of that brings revenue back into the little farm, and that helps support what we're doing here on the little farm. We do not charge for any of our visitors. We do not charge for on-site visits. We do not charge for any of that. However, we do have a PayPal account and a Venmo account that if people wanted to donate money, they could donate money here for the little farm. And all the money that anyone donates goes directly back into the little farm. I mean, feed, and we just got new fencing for the goats, and maintenance of making everything nice, and the garden and the flower garden. I mean, all of that is an expense, and so that kind of helps with that cost of maintaining the little farm and doing that. So we do really appreciate when people donate, but it's not anything that they have to do to come. One of the first things that we do when we visit the little farm is I take people on a tour. I take them on the tour of the little farm. Our first stop, though, is at our agritourism liability sign. This sign ensures us of any liability due to negligence on a participant's part. Now, that's a lot of words for me to say, and a lot of words for me to, kind of a tongue twister. Anyway, what it means that visitors that come to the little farm, if they are hurt or any kind of activity that they might result in death due to their negligence, due to their not following the rules or paying attention to what we are asking them to do. If they were to get hurt or to die from any of those things due to their negligence, that releases us of liability. And that's the way I understand it. We're always very careful to make sure that the animals are in their paddocks when we have visitors. Now there have been occasions when the visitors come and they're very comfortable around the animals, and I'm very comfortable around the visitors, and I will let the animals out of the paddock, and that happens occasionally. Otherwise, we generally, especially if it's a big group, we will have somebody in the paddock with the animals, guiding the visitors to touch the animals or to be around the animals or to feed the animals. We always have an adult there guiding people, guiding visitors to help them do that. And that helps us prevent any kind of injury or any kind of thing that could happen that would be a liability on our part. So we do that. Now I take them on a tour. And then after we're done looking at that sign, I take them to go look at the bees. I take them to go look at the garden. Now the bees are behind a fence, and that's one of the things that we have decided to do to help us to keep people, because bees can be very frightening for people, and there are people who are allergic to bees. So depending on the people, we can take them inside the garden if they're, anxious to go see the inside of the garden, but not a big group. It's usually just one person at a time. If they want to go inside and look at the bees, we don't generally do that. I don't usually let people get into the beehive or get close to the bees. I think the fencing is pretty close anyway, and you can get a pretty good idea of what's going on in there. So we do that. We do the garden first, and then I take them around to see all the flower beds, take them through to the fairy garden, and then the fairy garden leads to the teepee path, and we go past the teepee, and then we come down to the animals. And then when we're down in the animals, I make sure that there are treats there. I have, worms or animal crackers for the animals, so that if the visitor feels comfortable enough, they can feed the animals. We will take them one at a time inside the paddock to meet the animals, and mostly we let Dulce be the goat that gets pet, because Leche is just too unpredictable, and we don't feel comfortable enough letting her get pets from visitors. So we let Dulce do it, because she's very gentle and she likes to be petted, and she's very friendly. So that's what we do there. And then I will pick up a chicken or a duck and let them carry a chicken or a duck. And they just really get a kick out of interacting with the animals. And then I take them inside the barn and let them see where the chickens lay eggs, where the goats live, where the chickens live, where the ducks live. I show them all of that. I show them the food. I show them everything. And then pretty much at that point, and that's a lot, and at that point and during that point, people always have a lot of questions. There's always a lot of questions, and they might be more interested in one thing than the other. They may be asking me a lot about the bees, or they may be asking me a lot about the flower gardens or the goats or the chicken. This whole entire time I'm giving them a tour, people are asking questions, and I'm trying to answer them to the best of my ability, or to how I do things. And that's the tour. That's what we do. That's initially what we do when we have guests. After that, after I give them the tour, I let them kind of do what they want to do. If they want to hang out with the animals, we will do that even longer. If they want to go get on the swing, or get under the teepee, or just sit here on in this outdoor living space, or if they want to talk some more about something, or if they want to go play in the fairy garden. Some kids come and they want to play in the sandbox the whole time, and that's fine too. I mean, it's entirely up to the guests, how they want to interact with what we have provided them. That's a lot. And we still haven't even talked about what happens when we go on site visits. But we've already talked so long that I feel that maybe we should make this a two-parter. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to split this into two, and that'll be what we'll do. Okay? Okay. It's a lot of information to take in, and hopefully it'll help those of you who had a lot of questions about what happens here on the Little Farm when we do visits. And so the next time we'll just finish this conversation up, and we'll talk about what happens when we do on-site visits at schools. And that's it. So I'm going to go hang out with the animals and hang out with Brownie and relax as soon as I finish editing this and sending it to you with lots of love. Thank you for visiting me here on Miss Annette's Little Farm in the big city. It means the world to me that you stopped by. It really does. You have no idea what you do for my well-being, for my spirit, because you are just so amazing and sweet, and it's so nice to have your company. Thank you for visiting me here on Miss Annette's Little Farm in the big city. Get outside today if you can. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Love you.